Dirk, Cupei, Chairman of the European Forum of Deposit Insurers. Does your organisation have a position on the European Deposit Insurance Scheme as yet?
Yes, we're actually in the phase to establish a joint position. It's still very complicated because even our members are not in the position to express their final position on EDIS. It's a pretty new piece of legislation and we're working on an opinion, and I think we will have finalized this by the end of the year.
The European Commission has written to 14 EU member states to ask them, to request that they fully implement the current national schemes. How close are we to full implementation?
So this is a very good question. It is not easy to say because it depends on the national legislators, and this is differing from country to country. But I hope that latest by the mid of next year, every member state will have implemented fully the EU directive on deposit insurance and also the BRD.
The proposed scheme will be fully implemented, EDIS. Proposed date is 2024. Is this lacking in ambition, or is it a realistic timescale?
I think this depends on the final structure of the EDIS. So we have now a legislative proposal, and for this legislative proposal I would doubt if we would be able to implement it until 2024. But I'm pretty sure, like in all legislative process, there will be still very great amendments on this proposal, and I think this final EDIS could be implemented until 2024, yes.
And currently the EU are saying they're looking at 43 billion euros, estimated to cover 0.8% of covered deposits. Is this adequate?
I think with the new right of depositor preference that has been implemented in the Banking Resolution Directive, I think this funding is adequate because deposit insurers can expect nearly in most of the cases 100% recovery in the insolvency proceedings, and therefore this fund should be sufficient.
And also, before you mentioned a level playing field, having a level playing field for the EU 28. Are there difficulties in this proposal?
Yes, so in the meeting of our Banking Union Working Group last week, there were a lot of member states and deposit guarantee schemes who have expressed their concerns about the level playing field, as many things will be relevant for the Banking Union members which are not relevant for the rest of the EU. Only to mention one issue is the target. The target for the Banking Union will be 0.8. Other member states out of the Banking Union can remain with 0.0, 0.5. This is not a level playing field. Same applies for the application of payment commitments or for the question of set-off in the payout process and for the temporary high balances.
Finally, the regulation of banks. We're looking at insurance schemes. Shouldn't we be looking at making sure that we don't get into this situation with adequate capital requirements, making sure that banks aren't too big to fail? Has enough been done on this front?
So I would assume that we have been getting a lot of good and new regulation, and I think first this regulation has to be implemented and to be tested, and then we have to make an impact assessment and see if we need further regulation. But by now I think we have sufficient new regulation.